Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing one very fancy card using the stamp and small die of the month from June 2022, and the stamp set is called Paisley Bouquet and the die set is called Stylized Border Trio. Now I'm going to start with the stamps first, and I will be using Copic markers. So I chose my paper to be Copic friendly paper. And when I use that, it's Hammermill Premium Color Copy Cover. And it says perfect for color. I call this the chameleon paper because it has a chameleon on the package. Now, every package of this paper might not have that, but mine does, and I've had it for a long time, and a little bit goes a long way. It comes with 250 sheets. So that is what I use when I use my Copic markers. Now I'm going to be embossing here, so I'm going to use my Misty and my embossing ink pad. That is just kind of a tacky ink that allows the embossing powder to stick. So I went around and flipped it, and you can kind of see in the shine of the light my ink. And now I'm going to put the same design on the other side and give it a little bit of a press, and it should be good to go. Next, I will take my black embossing powder and kind of pour it over the top of my ink with my spoon so the powder sticks just on the ink. Now, I didn't show in my video, but I use a anti-static tool that keeps the embossing powder from sticking anywhere but on the ink. So I've used that in other videos, so I'm sure if you've watched those, you've seen it. Now with my heat embossing tool, I will put it on, or not on, but near the embossing powder, and it melts. And of course, be careful using heat tools because this gets fairly hot and you don't want to burn yourself. Now I will take my Copic markers, and I kind of wanted it to match this pink color cardstock that I have been kind of hoping to use for a while. It's kind of a Barbie pink, so I went ahead with RV06 first, and I thought that I would just stick with this color and maybe do some of a rainbow color with the other Copics in the corner, but I ended up not using any other color but pink, black, and gold on this card. First here, I'm going around and adding the RV06 kind of all over, not really having too much of a rhyme to the reason, just adding pink and leaving some white space. Then I'm going to match the other side a little bit, but not completely the same. These two small pieces are a little bit opposite, and that was kind of on purpose, kind of not really. I don't know. I just enjoy coloring, and I just find it kind of relaxing. And with this project, I won't be doing any shading with my Copics. It's just simply having color on my project, but I will end up pulling in other colors of marker in just a little bit. But this card was kind of a labor of love, if you will, and I wasn't really sure what it was going to be until the very end. All right, at this point I considered using sending happy thoughts your way, but I ended up not using that, so I didn't show making that. Yes, that is from the stamp set, but I end up using a different sentiment. I'm going to use the border dies from the membership for the month and some gold mirrored cardstock to cut out a kind of medium-sized thickness border, and that's going to go across my card. After die cutting, I will use my tool-in-one to get all of the little pieces out of the center. I find it easiest to flip my die piece completely over to the back and just roll that little brush on the back, and everything just pops out very quickly. And you can either save those for a little confetti or something for a shaker card, or you can simply toss them off to the side. Then if I missed any, I will take the little pokey part and just get them out. Next, I'm going to use the border dies to create a background for my gold piece. Now I do that by just lining it up on my black paper and using some purple craft tape to secure the die to the paper. Then it won't wiggle around in my machine. Then I take the second piece and put it where it needs to go on the other side and secure it down with purple tape as well. Then I will take my gold piece off and put that through my die cutting machine, and poof, my background is finished. Next, I need to trim it down to size. So those dies cut the edges, but it does not cut the sides. So I will be lining it up onto my card where I would like it to go first. And I like the way that that looks, so I will put some liquid glue behind the back. I will be using the Barely Art glue for this video. That's what I've been using most of the time. And just adhering it with the bigger lobes facing up. I will be intentional of how I line up the sides just to make sure that none of the torn edges line up with my edge on the card. Then I'll just take my little scissors and snip off the extras. Now I have a diagonal border ready for my gold piece. To put on the gold die cut piece, I will be using liquid glue and just putting glue where there are larger areas for my glue to rest on. This being the gold mirror cardstock, it is quite slippery, and I just have to be a little bit careful when I press it down so it stays in place. You could also use the pouncing method. I've used that on my channel before. So if you're curious, just watch a few other videos and I'm sure I'll do it in one of the videos. And now I am ready to put it onto my black part. Now I want to make sure that my die is lined up, so I have the nubs facing the right way. And yes, a little bit hangs off the edge and a little's missing on the side. So to keep my design even, I'm going to be taking 1/8 of an inch off of each side. So my white piece will end up being 3 3/4. At this point, I decide that I'm not really feeling the white embossed ink. So I go ahead and choose a different sentiment from the stamp set, and I choose Hello. Now, yes, I've put a lot of time and effort into this card, and now I could ruin it with my stamp, but using my MISTI, I feel a little bit more secure in knowing that it won't misstamp. So, phew, it worked, and I don't have to redo my stamping, embossing, coloring, die cutting, etc. Thank you, MISTI. Next, I'm going to take my white panel and see how it will fit on my pink. And I don't like the edges quite yet, so I'm going to trim down 1/8 of an inch from every side. This way my design won't lose any of its symmetry. Then I'll take the scraps and toss them. I will next put my white panel onto some gold mirrored cardstock and fit it so it's about 1/8 of an inch going around the edge. Maybe it's about 1/4 looking at it now. Then take my trimmer and trim the excess off of the edge. I really like the way that that looks with my gold die cut piece. I think that it really gives it a nice little flair, if you will. Next, I decided that the card needed a little bit more pink. And to get rid of some of the white, I chose to use RV21 or 21 and RV09. This way I would add some pink tones and it wouldn't be so much white. And I like the way that this ended up looking anyway. I also have there on the far left the 00 Copic marker, and it's basically like an eraser, if you will. Just be careful using it. Maybe try testing it out. It's basically just alcohol, I believe, in there, and it kind of takes a little bit of the color out. So I used that on one little area where I colored outside of the lines. I know. Then I will put my pin back in my glue because I don't want it to dry out. And I will stick on the gold piece all the way on to my pink panel. That will be my final layer for my card. Then I will take the same tape runner and put that on my card base. And next, all I have left is adding the embellishments. So if you've liked this card, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future card videos. And if you're interested in buying the stamp and die of the month, I will have those linked in my descriptions under Spellbinders Club item link. Now the embellishments I am using here are leftovers from the Damask Daydream card kit of the month. They are just some blingy rhinestones that I had in my stash, and they fit perfectly in the circle on the Border Trio die. And that finishes off this card. So I hope you like it, and if you do, let me know in the comments. And if you've made any other cards using this stamp set, please let me know, and I'd love to see them. So if you're interested, I do have a Facebook group that shares Spellbinders monthly ideas, so that will also be in the description. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!